Well, this is cool. It's so great to be chatting with you. Welcome to the Good Movie Monday verse. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm up in London.
You're in
It's
London
early in the
town.
morning. Yeah.
What does your morning ritual consist of? Do you have any particular routine?
It's a lot of it's a lot to do with food and supplements.
Yes.
So it's like I always have my oats with some proteins, and then I stack with vitamins and different things. So this is something I've done. The oat thing is something I did from childhood, and then I went into bodybuilding, and I was continue with it. So I always have some oats in the morning.
It sounds like a good routine. Maybe I
Yeah.
should take a leaf out of your book. Um, I'm going to throw a blanket question out to you about the film that we're talking about, The Siege, and I want to know what drew you to this project to begin with.
So before this, we made a movie called Last Man Down, and it was quite successful. It's a kind of independent action film, also a little bit like inspired by like Arnold and Stallone movies from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it got really successful. And I'm back on this, you know, um, Philippe Martinez contacted me about The Siege. He said, "Oh, I think you would be perfect for this film." And then we had a conversation, and then he put me in touch with Brad that directed it, and we had a good conversation. We kind of after this, I knew, yeah, I would like to do this because it's kind of a movie I would like to watch when I grew up, and it's important to enjoy things and make things you like. So that's the thing. So there's more. The drive was this kind of make something I would like to see as a teenager or a child. So that's why this has happened for me.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
nailed it on the head because that's exactly how I felt when I was watching this. The movie opens up with such a unique and quirky sequence that is loaded with action, and yet it's very whimsical and comical. Um, and that's an interesting tone for a movie like this to take. Was the script as offbeat and quirky as what the movie was?
Yeah, well, everything is a evolvement. It's kind of evolve
Mm-hmm.
while you start working on it. So we had the script, it's more or less, yes. But then kind of when me and Brad start doing our Zoom call about the script, about the character, we kind of get a more sense of how we want to make it.
Mm.
So it's yes, it is, but it's also a kind of evolvement while you develop it or you go into pre-production through this process of conversations and ideas and you know
Mm-hmm.
and he I remember he said he want to try to have a it's an action film but a touch of comedy on it, not too dark but some in between, humor. So
Absolutely.
I think he managed to get that combination quite good because it's not an action comedy but it's kind of action with some element of lightness in between.
Absolutely, it's full of really good ideas, and having the genre, the action genre that it is, take place on the fringes of like the spy and espionage world is quite unique. I haven't quite seen it done like this before, and like you mentioned, Brad, your director, he went he went all out with the violence in this one, which I like in a movie like this. It's very brutal.
Yeah,
Was it a really tough shoot physically?
it was a brutal shoot of several reasons.
Yep.
So first of all, when we shot this movie, we're still in kind of semi lockdown in the UK. Not
Mm-hmm.
proper lockdown, but it's kind of still in the end of it. So you had these kind of bubbles. When you shoot a movie, you have to be in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And that just make it a little bit more complicated, with logistic and everything is just so we were shooting this in a film studio up in north of England,
Mm-hmm.
and like in the movie, on set nobody's allowed to leave the facilities. So everyone had to stay on the facilities. And then we had a hotel very close by that we could stay in, kind of. So it was kind of sealed off, make everything a little bit more complicated, but still good. And we had a very short shooting time. So we shot this film over 20 days. and that's hard. That's brutal because it's like you don't have time for mistakes. You don't have time to make a lot of takes.
Mm-hmm.
You may, you have it's best of three. It's kind of you can't do you don't have the time to do 5 or 10. It's like best of three. That's it, and you don't have room for mistakes. So that's how you make this film. And also because we shot it in November, and we shot a lot of night shoots, as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
and November in north of England is cold,
Yeah.
and when I was in a tank top most of the film, and when we discussed the costume, I didn't think about it. Either did Brad, or the costume. So when we start shooting, and it's like the first day, no problem. And when we went into night shoots, and it's like 0 degrees, that
Yeah.
was tough. That was tough. So I'm like, I remember I said, oh, if I knew, I would propose another costume.
Yeah. Did they
Because it
have
was so freezing.
did they have things
So
aside for you after the take? Something like
of
warm
of
soup
course,
or yeah.
of course, and a bathrobe, and that sort of things. But it's like when you do a lot of takes, the thing is you can do a take and take it on, and it's fine, But when you've done it for like 5 hours,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you take it on, you're still cold. So, but at least a lot of action
Mm-hmm.
keep you going. It make you warm and all this. But still, it's amazing because what I think this is something I like with. I come from bodybuilding. When you're on a diet for bodybuilding, you kind of you you don't enjoy the process of dieting
Mm-hmm.
and all this, but you enjoy the result. And when you look back on it, you can be proud of yourself for all thing you achieved and the process of achieving. And I think the same with film. Sometime you have fun, but like this one when it's so cold, you kind of, oh, why didn't we shoot another, like with a little bit more clothes on or whatever. But after, I'm so happy I did, and it's this challenge you do to yourself, and you come through it, and you're still alive, and you see it on the screen. It's like this is the reward. So yeah, it was tough, but I still enjoy it. Kind of. This is
Yeah.
something I dreamed about doing all my life. So I do my dream. So whatever that's gonna be. You need to go through a lot of things, and that's a part of the process. And I love the whole package.
Yeah, absolutely. That's given me a good
Yeah.
opportunity just to sidestep for a second. I'll come back to the movie, but you're living your dream at the moment, and you said that you have been a bodybuilder. But what got you into acting? Where was the moment that you decided to switch course?
Oh, I think it was when I saw Arnold in Commando carry
Yeah.
this big log with a cigar in his mouth. I think that was the result that made me. Oh, this is how I want to be when I'm old. So,
Yep.
so definitely, it's definitely Arnold, and it's definitely Stallone, and to a degree Van Damme, because it's like what formed me, and it come down to the muscles, the bodybuilding, and the films combined. Is kind of when I saw those movies, I probably was 10, 11 or something, and you see Commando, and then you see Rambo, and then Bloodsport, and or a kickboxer or whatever when they do the splits, Van Damme, and all these combinations. Like, oh, that's how I want to be when I'm old, and of course that's not a real man necessary in that sense. It kind of, but that's as a young, it's like, oh, I want to be like these guys, kind of. So it definitely inspired me a
Mhm.
lot. And then of course my dad too, because he used to do bodybuilding and he owned a
Mhm.
gym. So I grew up in this environment of muscles, powerlifters, bodybuilders, strongman, and he introduced me to Arnold in a book. He had this. Do you remember? Arnold made a book in the 70s, like a bodybuilding
Mhm.
book. And my dad had this one. So remember, he opened this and showed me, like, I was young, it's like, explain about this guy. He came from Austria and become a bodybuilder, and then he went to America and he made movies and all this. And then I remember I saw the picture of him and Franco Colombo on Venice Beach. They do their poses and
Yeah.
everything. So this is where those seeds, combination with watching those movies, and I tell you, my mom wouldn't let me watch those movies when I was 11, but I kind of figured out a way to. I went to a friend of mine, and we were kind of we had cassettes of VHS, and we watched them illegal. It's like we didn't tell our moms.
Yep. That's like a rite of passage for every kid.
So I think my dad knew, but he was more relaxed with it. But my mom, no, you're not allowed. You have to wait a few more years. And like, yeah, I know.
And now look at you. Now look at you, living the dream.
Yeah. So at least I'm in the process of achieving those dreams I had as a child. I've done my bodybuilding thing, and I'm doing the movie thing. I'm not like, I'm on the road at least. So when I get older, I see it a little bit different than as a child. So now it's more about, I love the process of it. I love the process of achieving, setting a goal.
Yep.
And then it's okay, I'm going to try to do this within the next 5-10 years. And I put all my energy into it. I try to learn. I try to listen to people that have more knowledge than me. And I try to implement it into me and my life, and then kind of find my way to go through it, So now it's not so much about necessarily the dreams I had as a child. It's more about the process of them. And like making a movie is challenging, but it's also fun. Again, it's come down to this, like, I do what I wanted to do as a child, and I'm doing it. And I'm so lucky. I deserve it because I work hard for it, but still it's like kind of, it's yeah. And that's important to remind me, is like, myself is like, yeah, I'm doing it,
Absolutely.
And,
it's been
and
like
hopefully I can do it for the next 10-20 years,
I hope so,
Hopefully.
because it's a pleasure to watch you. It's amazing to watch you, and your
thank
career
you.
up until
Thank you so
now, like
much.
the road in which you've traveled. You've been involved with some very big projects like Edge of Tomorrow, Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom, Paddington, even and Justice League. But what I want to know is, now you're leading some very, very kick-ass action movies. What lessons did you take from those big ones that translate to the ones you're doing now?
So I would say it was a part of the process. All is about a part of a process. So something I learned from bodybuilding is like, in bodybuilding, it takes time. You're not going to look like Arnold within a year after you start going to the gym. It's going to take many years. It's a process of 10-15 years. Daily, training, food. And then after 5 years, 10 years, you get the results. In film, I approach it the same way, because when I started doing this, I was in my late 20s, and I kind of learned from the process of bodybuilding. So I kind of, okay, I want to do the film thing now. It's going to take time. And I set up of a couple of years where I went to school or courses, I stunt courses in London. I went to acting courses in Los Angeles. I study everything I can around film for a couple of years, 2-3 years. And then after, I set off 2-3 years where I just gonna be on set, do whatever it is to learn. So it could be, because I did a lot of stunt training. So I was on a few films as a stuntman, a stunt trainee. I was in some movies as an extra. I was on movie sets as just behind the camera to support things. And some I had small parts. And the whole process of that made me ready to do what I do today, combined with the courses and all this. So all those movies, they teach me a lot about how you do film on film set. Because one thing is how it's in the book, another thing is how it's done in reality. And of course, there's a big difference from shooting an indie film and a studio production of 300 million. There's a big difference.
Yep.
But still, it kind of gave me a good feeling of just like how it worked, how the structure, the military structure of a film set, on those big movies, you maybe have 1,000 people involved, and it's like when you see the U.S. Army come in, set up bases and all this. It's the same thing, you have this huge thing that just work together and make these amazing things. So it told me a lot about structure on film set in practice, and also because I do produce. So the last movie, not The Siege, but the movie I made before, I did produce. So all this learned and teach me how to produce over time. So everything prepare myself to who I am today and understand the responsibilities of being a leading man in a movie, because that's different from just being an actor on set. You have more responsibilities. You have to make sure you're one of the leaders of the team.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure there's good vibe on set. You need to, even if it's but you need to make sure you support people around you, and all these kind of things. So it's kind of, being a lead on a film is kind of, yeah, it's like Achilles running in front of the army attacking Troy, like in the movie with Brad Pitt. And if you remember, the king hired Achilles to lead because he inspired everyone. And being a lead on a film set is almost similar. It's a little bit different, but still is some similarities. You have responsibilities as a lead. And yeah, so there's more things to it. And it's hard and brutal, because if you fail, everyone fail on a film, because it's like you have 80% of the screen time or 70% of the screen time. So if you don't work, you're going to make a movie that nobody want to watch, and then everyone that's involved fails. So you have a lot of responsibility by doing it, So I think that's the important thing, if you just have a couple of scenes in a film, even if you fail, the movie doesn't fail. People may say, yeah, what is he doing in this movie? But still, it's a complete movie, So
Yep.
that's the difference. And you can maybe cut them out. You can cut the lead out because there's no scene left to make a movie from. So that's the difference. So yeah. So all these processes just is a part of the process of being ready to do my own movies. So yeah.
I mean, you definitely put everything you have into these movies, and it tells and it shows on the screen. And I hope that people that are listening to this conversation really now feel compelled to go and explore more of your work, because it is quite, like I said right at the start, it's quite unique what you do on the screen. And you talk about all those big action stars, Schwarzenegger and Van Damme. You have your own unique thing on screen. So I do hope that people listening to this
Okay,
will go
thank
out
you.
and try to
Thank you.
explore your work a little more. Before I do let you run and we wrap up, I want to ask you one more thing. You have a movie coming out called Fight Pride. I want to ask you all about that.
Yeah.
What is this movie?
So it's not made yet, but we're going to make it this year. So it's Fight Pride is a man called Yank. He's from working class America, and you have to fight to provide money because he loses his job, and you have to fight to provide money for himself and a child he meets, like a homeless child. So it is interesting thing is this is a comeback of Sheldon Lettish. Sheldon, who made Bloodsport. He wrote Rambo 3, Double Impact, Hard Target, Lionheart, and all these Van Damme movies. And he's going to direct it. So that's something I'm looking forward to. So I guess it's going to be, we shoot this year, and then I guess it come out probably sometime 2024. I don't know what time because I'm not in control of those things, but yeah. So it's a more like it's not a martial. It is a martial art film, but it's more like a drama. It's a drama with martial arts, you know. So it's more like, yeah, it's more like in the genre of Lionheart and Rocky and The Warrior.
Yep.
There's a drama with fighting. It's not like a full complete fight movie.
Yeah.
You have this interaction with this child and him and yeah. So it's a different. It's still in the same genre I grew up with, but it's still a different type of movie from the Seeds because it's a very strong story. And I think it's a good movie based on script. And
awesome.
Let's see what Sheldon and me, together with all the other cast, is how we are able to translate it from script into visuals.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Like it's the recipe for something delicious. I can tell you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I hope it's going to be good. At least I'm going to do my best. Whatever I can provide, and I hope is enough. You know.
How do you go personally with the American accent?
I'm not. No, I can't do a proper American accent. So he is not like. He's more like an immigrant in America, working class immigrant.
Well, that's what got Van Damme by.
Yeah, and it's still, you know, it's like Van Damme, Arnold. They played Americans, and it kind of worked. So there's many different type of Americans. You have immigrants, you have, and you have people born there. So, you know, you have different accents there too, you know, and, but who knows? Maybe I'm going to work on the accent, you know, if I have a coach. So who knows, in a couple of movies, maybe I'm capable.
Well,
but, you know, it's like, English is my second language.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's now like I live in London, so of course now I speak it daily. But still, when I grew up, I didn't speak English. You know, I'm Norwegian, so I kind of Norwegian is my first language. So when it's a second language, you just need to work harder on it because it's also about pronunciations and small details. Even if you understand and can speak the language, it's a different thing to perform in a language. So that's something I learned when I went to acting class, because in LA, I remember I kind of did the scenes, but it was difficult to translate it into performance in the beginning, because you feel and your emotions is connected to the language you spoke as a child.
Yep. So
again, when you start speaking English as an adult or in your teenagers, your emotion is not connected to the language like it is for you, because you grew up speaking English, crying, being angry, different thing, you know. So I did it in Norwegian. So that's why there's a little bit harder to do that process of connect the English language to your emotions and feelings, because that's how you attach it as a child. So, but I'll do my best, and we'll see. But but the whole point of Yank, he's an immigrant family, so it's there's a logic to it. Let's say it this way.
Well, I look forward to that, and I hope that closer to the time that comes out, we get another chance to talk all about it. It would be great. I've had a thrill chatting with you today, so thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
I've been made.
Time for you to disappear.
I heard you were back. You've been here so many times. It's easy to fast-track a new identity for you. You're not the only resident tonight.
I sent you the targets. Yes, sir. Make this neat. Make this tidy. No witnesses.
We need your help. Compound's being sieged. They want us dead.
We stick together.
I think the time for subtlety's over.
We need more weapons. We have to find her.
You need to stay down.
Who are you?
I'm no voice.